Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How many classes you finished? Screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning we had learned have the contents of
Ma'am, you're not audible.
how about now?
It's too low, ma'am.
Okay. Now?
Yeah, now it's clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we'll go through introduction to CSE. Okay. First of all, what do you mean by a computer? What is it? How did you choose? Table?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. We can't hear you.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can you answer anyone? Why computer? What is computer, etc.?
Ma'am, it's an electronic device used to perform a lot of activities like
Okay.
programs and etc.
Okay. But why do we require it?
to make our work easier.
Then anyone else? Okay. So basically, in this session, we will be learning what is computer, why we require computer, what type of problems does our machine solve, okay, and what is an input which we give, what does it do, and how we will get the output. Clear? So in every session, you will have objectives. So that means what I'll be covering in this session. So we will cover about types of computers and their ubiquitous presence, nature and types of computation, state the nature of requirements by computer applications. So before going into depth, okay, so general idea, maybe you have learned in your schooling and college, like you have something called as input. If I give that input, there is some machine which will do some processing. It will do some mathematical modeling or whatever it is, and then you will get some output. For example, if I give 2, 3 and plus as a symbol, what will your processor will do? It takes 2 as an input, plus as an operator, and 3 as an again input. It performs addition here, okay, using arithmetic and logic unit, and it gives you the output. Total output is 5. So this is the basic scenario of what our computer does. Next, these are the contents what we will be going through: computers, computer applications, and computation. What is computation? What do you mean by computation?
The performance of the
Ma'am,
computer.
calculation or the work the computer do, ma'am. The processing time.
So computation is nothing but a calculations. Okay. So if I have given you a 10-digit number into 11-digit number, so you have some product, sub-product, and finally you have a final product. So there is some large problem is solved into a small chunk of problem. Bit by bit you are doing some multiplication. So that calculations is nothing but your computations. So in computations again you have a high-end computation, low-end computation, large complex problems into a small problem. All those things will come into picture. So we'll learn what are those different types of computation, whether it is with respect to only numbers or only alphabets, or it is a mix of numbers and alphabets. Here comes from where the word computer come from. So this term computer came from a Latin word named as compute, which means calculations or to manipulate. That is nothing but computations. Okay. So here, what do you mean by manipulate? We as an user, we only write a program. However, is required. Okay. At times I can say 2 plus 3 is not equal to 5. I can write a program like that. So we have all that strength to write any type of program and manipulate the application. Calculation, manipulate. So we have a standard, as one of your friend told, an electronic device capable of performing computations and making logical designs at high speed. So first thing, it is an electronic device. It is nothing but a machine which is made up of electronics. So you will learn electronics engineering in further classes. That time you will get to know what exactly electronic device is. So this electronic device, what does it do? I told beforehand, computer is nothing but calculations or computations or manipulations. So some machine which is able to do some calculations, we will call it as computer. And making logical decisions, which is nothing but logical decisions is what? If I say 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, yes, that is true. So that decision will be given. And if I have written a program saying 2 plus 3 is not equal to 5 and I want it to be true, it can be true. Okay, like that, anything which is able to do decision making and if it is able to do calculations, we will call it as a computer. So where do you find these machines? Do you think it's only in colleges and IT departments? Only where software engineers are there? Or can it be in every in our day-to-day activities, at home, everywhere?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, ma'am.
Okay. So is your mobile acting as a computer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Will
ma'am.
your headphone act as a computer?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. How no?
Ma'am, because it's just an output device. In a computer, there should be processor also.
Okay. Good. Then will your tablet act as a machine?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Tab.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then, as you all told, computers are everywhere. We have a monitor, we have laptop. What is this which is in the rack? Any idea?
Supercomputer?
Servers.
Okay, good.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
there are multiple servers. The data is stored there. So again, coming to what is server, multi-servers, we will learn in further classes. Here, server is given as an example of computer, saying even server can act as a machine. So next, what is the first image? This one.
Router.
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 Have you seen in your house?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
What are the
Yes, ma'am.
blinks you have every time there is a light blinking on your router? What it is?
Ma'am, for Wi-Fi and the network connection.
Signal.
Signal. Okay, good. So will this act as a computer? A router. Will it act as a computer?
Yes.
Do
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have a processing here?
Ma'am, actually, it changes the signals from analog to digital. So, like model,
Okay.
it works as a modem. So it does the processing. It have the input and gives us an output. So it can act as a computer.
Okay, good. Any other answer? Any other answer? If I ask you a question, justify whether the router is a computer or no, how do you justify if it is yes and if it is no? Can you think of it and can you answer me tomorrow?
It cannot be a computer mainly because a computer is an electronic device which gives us a logical decision. But it doesn't. A router doesn't give us any logical decision, or neither does it then store any memory. The only thing it does it as one of them told, it just changes them from analog to digital. So I wouldn't say that a router is a computer.
Good. I think your name is Aryan, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. In your perspective, router is not a computer because it doesn't have a memory. Can I put it
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that? Okay. Any other answers? Okay. So today you do a research saying whether the router acts as a machine or no. If no, what are the reasons? If yes, what are the reasons? So again in tomorrow's class we will discuss about it in detail. Clear? Okay. So what is the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
image? What is this image?
RJ45 jacks.
Can I see it as switches? Can I see it as switches?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Same question again, whether this switch to the router, obviously we are connecting via router. Okay, will it act or no as a machine is our next question. So here, same example like our servers, we have switches, okay, in the form of racks. This is the detailed picture. This is in the form of racks. And this is an image which is took in the college. Okay, once you come offline, we can look into it, the picture. So next, my basic question is your computer.
Yes, ma'am.
Most of you say yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What's the difference of our original and our laptop or desktop?
Ma'am, we can't hear you.
Ma'am, your voice is
Ma'am, your
not
voice
audible,
is
ma'am.
breaking.
Okay,
It's
what
very
is the
low, ma'am.
major difference between our laptop or desktop and phone?
Change of software and it is a hand.
Okay, it is handheld, the laptop is also handheld.
Ma'am, a mobile is not as powerful as a PC or a desktop.
Okay, we want it with proof. For example, I will say our laptops are more efficient than phones because of power management. If I want to run a large project, I would go with laptop, not with phone. So in that perspective, so I've used something called as power. So like that, you can use efficiency or performance analysis. Like that, you can give us an example. Okay. So for example, in future, if someone asks you, is this a machine? If yes, how do you justify? If no, how do you justify? Or if we say, can I take my mobile as a machine? What are the disadvantages and advantages? You should be able to write it. Correct?
Yes,
So like
ma'am.
that, you start thinking. Okay. I know you can't answer it straight away in a single day. You can start thinking what can be the answer. So next is more devices. So again, there is smartwatch, wearable device, tabs, and mobiles. Mobiles we finished. Tab is also done. Now we will go through with respect to smartwatch. So most of you are using smartwatch. Can I call it as a machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How?
Ma'am, like it does the computing part too. It like asks us for input. It processes the things and it gives us some certain outputs.
Okay, it's the same like your mobile, which you're using in a small, tiny manner.
Just
Correct? Can I put it in that way?
yes, ma'am. Just a mini
Yes.
version.
Minimal version. Okay. Done. Again, we have some huge set of servers, routers, switches, etc. We will call them as distributed computing or data farms or grids and clouds. So all these terms, do not worry. At the end of the semester, you learn what do you mean by distributed computing, grid computing, and cloud computing. Okay. So even these multiple units can act as a computer is what we are trying to project in this slide. Computers need not be single units, it can be multiple units also. So next, is your car act as a system? Can I call your car as a computer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. It can be called
Yes, ma'am.
computer.
So that means you have some internal machine using sensors. It is able to show you the parking. Okay, using sensors, it is saying there is a man there, don't open your door. Okay, using your sensors, it says the fuel is low, please fill it. Okay, so it is giving you some input by analyzing something, so I can call it as a system. Similarly, can I call robo as a machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
very
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
simple
ma'am.
ma'am.
itself, so no need to talk about it. Then we have signals. So again, how is the signals trained? We are giving some logic saying be red signal for so and so seconds. After that, change to orange and then to blue. All those are some logics which we are applying, and it is showing us the input output. So I can call these are also as a computer. So next you have graphics. Okay, so can you see this image? There are some tiny constructions over here. Correct? All these things you learn in CAD, CAD, which comes in mechanical. Okay, so which is nothing but again, this is also done by your computer. You apply a logic, usually using machine learning concepts, and then you will get this. Okay, and then we have maps. How does this map work? We use something called a shortest path algorithm. Okay, in future you'll learn what is this. Okay, using that he is able to locate you. These are the people who are driving near to your option. Okay, so indirectly you're using algorithm concepts here. That is what is mentioned. Okay, so far we went through what is a computer and what are its applications. It can be a large device or a tiny device or a multiple units. Here, for example, computers. Here you have routers and then laptop, phone, tab, smartwatch, wearable devices, and multiple units, and comes with indirect use of computers like car, robots, traffic signaling, etc. These are the different applications where we use our system knowledge. Next comes to nature of computation. So as I told you, what is the meaning of computation is nothing but calculations. So it can be a combination of numbers and alphabets, or it can be only numbers, or it can be only alphabets. So there is a question here: with such variety of uses, what should computers be designed to do? So I told you just now, it can be only numbers, it can be alphabets, or it can be both. So how should our machine be designed? Is it with only zeros and ones, or with alphabets also? Are you there?
Only zeros and
Ma'am,
ones.
could you repeat?
Should your system, okay, should it only work with the numbers, that is zeros and ones, or it can work with alphabets also?
Zeros and ones.
So are you telling it can't work with alphabets?
It can, but it needs to be converted to zeros and ones so that it can be understood by the computer.
So if you're able to convert alphabets to numbers, that means it can do it, right?
Yes, ma'am. But the
So
main thing would be zeros and ones.
yeah, the main thing is zeros and ones. Your alphabets are converted to binary, that is again in zeros and ones. So your
Yes, ma'am.
computation can be in both numbers, alphabets, and combination of it. Okay. What is the next question? What types of computations do computer applications require? Just now we discussed it is both numbers and alphabets. Comes with what are the different types of computation. First one is numerical computation, which is nothing but numbers. Second is data processing. So for example, you have hundreds of data. For example, you as a class, around 50 students you are there. If I want to segregate you people from alphabets, I will check the first letter of your name. Using that, I will segregate. Correct? That is called as data processing at times. Or if I want to search any one of you, I will give in that sheet, find this fellow and let him contact me. This is also one type of data. Next you have input and output. You all know what is input, what is output. I don't think no need of telling you. Okay. Then user interface is nothing but what you're looking at right now. You're looking at your desktop screen. It's nothing but your user interface, and I am changing it. Either it can be textual or graphical and web based. So what is the current user interface which we are using right now? Is it textual or graphical or web based?
Web based.
It is web based. Okay, but I'm now and then I'm able to write it also, so it can be textual.
Textual.
If I'm using some figures, then it is graphical. Next, communication is nothing but it is happening via my headphones, and you're listening through your headphones. So my headphones is input to you, your headphones is output to you, and the system in between us is called as processing unit. So these are the different types of computations. So coming to history, hope you can go through it. I don't want to waste time in going through the history. So next comes with what is a computer. So we just discussed a computer is an electronic device which is able to do some computations and able to give some logical designs. So in that we have something called a system, hardware, software. Okay. So system is what? You have a monitor, you have a mouse, you have a keyboard, you have a CPU. All those are connected to each other and they're able to communicate. That means if I give any instruction from keyboard, monitor is taking it and it is able to analyze it and show you the output. Correct? From my mouse or my keyboard, I'm able to write something and you are able to see it. So this is called as communication and coordination. So a system is nothing but a combination of components. Components is nothing but monitor, okay, mouse, processing unit, input unit, output unit, which are able to cooperate and coordinate. That is nothing but they're able to communicate with you for a specific operation. That is called as system. Hardware is nothing but something which you can touch and feel. Okay, so I'm able to touch my keyboard, I'm able to touch the mouse, I'm able to touch my monitor. All these are your hardware devices. What is software? Whatever the Wing ID which you installed. For the students who attended my previous class, we were using some software. We were also using, we all are using WhatsApp. You're not able to touch and feel it. It is a software. Whatever you give, it is doing it. Okay. Next comes with the basic functional units. So most of you have learned it in your SSLC and your PUC. So there is something called as input device, output device, central processing unit, which has control unit and arithmetic logic unit, and you have memory units. So we will go through in detail one by one. But in brief, input device is nothing but, for example, through keyboard, you're giving some instruction to the processor. Processor solves it and it gives the output to the output device. That is nothing but your monitor in our case. So here, what is an input unit? It obtains information, either it is a data and a computer program, whatever it is. I can directly give 2 plus 3, or I can say I can write program. Okay, A is equal to 2, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 2, etc. All those are your inputs from the input devices. Input device is nothing but keyboard and mouse. Output device is unit is nothing but it takes information that has been processed by the computer and place it in a different output thing. So use whatever input is there, CPU is taking it, solving that, and it is putting onto the output unit. That is your output unit. Examples are monitor or your screens and your printer. Next comes with CPU, that is central processing unit. So in CPU, what are there? Control unit, arithmetic logic unit, and memory unit. Memory unit is separate. So what is control unit? Okay, whatever the input is given from the input unit, it coordinates. That means it takes it and places it in a particular place. Okay, arithmetic unit is nothing but, from the name we can say there is some calculation behind it. It can be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. What is logic unit? As I told, whether it is true or false. Okay, next is multiprocessor. We'll look into later. We have memory unit. So as you all know from your schooling, you have 3 types of memory: main memory, secondary memory, and cache memory. So main memory is nothing but a primary memory. Once the power is off, all the data is erased. Secondary memory is permanent memory. Even when the power is off, all the data is present. How? Using pen drives and hard disk. So in your CPU also there is a hard disk which will be stored. Next comes with cache memory, which is placed in between main memory and secondary memory. That is nothing but immediately stored data. For example, I've done 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Before going and storing into secondary memory, immediately it will be stored in cache. So if I want to use again 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, it goes to cache and get back that data. That is called as cache memory. Or you can just remember it is between CPU and main memory, or between main memory and the secondary memory. So this ends with the session. So we learned what is a computer, what are its applications, and functional units of a computer. So we'll brush through again what is basic functional units. You have input device, output device, processing unit, and memory unit. From the input device, I'll give the input. In the control unit, it will access it and stores the value. It will access it and gives it to the arithmetic logic unit. It performs addition or subtraction or true or false and stores it into memory unit and gives the output at the output device. Ends with your session 1. Any doubts so far? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Are you feeling I'm fast?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You're able to
No,
follow
ma'am.
the
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So next task is okay. For the newcomers, please download Wing ID. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Visible,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go to Wingware. Okay, in your Google, get Wing 101. Click on it. Okay, once you click on it, you can see that Windows installer for 32-bit and 64-bit, Windows zip file for 32-bit and 64-bit. You can use 6.1.5 version or 7.0.4 version, anything is fine, not 8.00 version. Here you can select which operating system, etc., and directly give download. Okay, once you give download, it will just happen. Keep on pressing next to finish, etc., and follow the path. Okay, and then it will be stored on your desktop. Once it is stored on your desktop, it will show you like this. Python 101.6. Once it is open, like this, here you check. Here you just type and check 2 plus 5. Do this, whoever has not done it, do this by tomorrow. Okay, so from tomorrow we will start doing live lab sessions. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Whoever is having doubt, the newcomers who are not able to do install this Wing ID, kindly contact your friends who are there in the group. Already they have an access to this, they know how to use. Okay, ask their help, and existing people, please help them out in order to install. If there are any errors, most of the errors we have solved during our class sessions, so kindly help them so that they're ready with the Wing IDE. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, and
Yes, ma'am.
tomorrow morning 9 o'clock is my class, right? If
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
booking your class.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
We will start the class at 8:15. Tomorrow from 8:15 to 10 o'clock, I will take the class.
Okay, ma'am.
So you 8:15
Okay,
to
ma'am.
9:05 you're free. So I'll take from 8:15 to 9:55, and 12:55 to 1:45 class you can be free.
Okay, ma'am.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay,
Fine.
ma'am.
Okay then. See you. Have a good day. I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.